Welcome, welcome back, you guys. I am Dr. Samaria M. Covert. For those who are new, I am the founder of Kingdom Creative Counseling. We're a private Christian private practice located in Greensboro, North Carolina. So that means I'm a licensed therapist, I'm a published author, I'm an entrepreneur, and I give you faith-based principles to bring about lasting change. I'm unapologetically a lover of Jesus Christ. Let's get started today. We're going to talk about another banger, okay? And Holy Spirit, we thank you for today, and we ask that your presence and your power and your authority and your wisdom will be present in our meeting today. Now, I want to talk about a really interesting topic, and it's called stress, burnout, and compassion fatigue for helping professionals or for servant leaders, I think it's called. So it's again stress, burnout, and compassion fatigue for servant leaders. This is something that once again, um, I work with people who've experienced this, and also myself as a servant in the human services field have experienced this, and it is real. And if you don't understand the principles concerning this, it could just take you out. It really can. And so it is my heart today to share and to bring light to something that happens. Sometimes it can happen when we're unaware of really what's going on. And so we're going to talk about it again. We're going to talk about three different things: that's stress, and that's one level now. So okay, remember, so think of it as a list here, right? So one level is stress. Stress goes undealt with, and you keep going on for a certain amount of time. There is burnout, and there's another concept called compassion fatigue. All right, so let's talk about this. We're going to start by defining each individual topic or each individual definition, and they want to bring it all together. And again, I'm not just going to give you the stuff that you can Google. I'm going to give you faith-based principles, very important faith-based principles, because there is a kingdom strategy that will bring about lasting change, particularly for this particular one and all the ones I do, by the way. Okay, so let's define stress. So stress is the feeling of being overwhelmed, overpowered, and overdone. It is emotional, it is mental, it is psychological pressure. Okay, stress can lead to high blood pressure, weight loss or weight gain, heart disease, high cholesterol, strokes, even death, because you were under too much stress. The stress will impact your body. Okay, we're going to talk about symptoms that a person is experiencing stress. One of them, there's many: sleeplessness, chest pains, heartache, inability to sleep, physical problems. Stress is something that if you carry in your body, it'll just weigh you down. And so, again, and that's stress. So we're going to give you some tools to deal with stress, but remember, it is no joke. Okay, well, sometimes I'm just stressed out, or you know that your body is starting to tell you. Your body will tell you you're stressed out before your mind recognizing that what I am experiencing today at this time is stress. Okay, for me, when I've gotten stressed out, I have gotten. I don't suffer regularly with migraines, but what's one of the things I'll do if I have gotten stressed out, I'll get a really bad migraine. When I say it's a migraine, it's on 10. And it'll get to the point where I have to literally stop what I'm doing, go into my room, which is fairly dark. I have these blackout curtains, and had to put shades on, and I had to literally lay in my bed for hours, okay, because I can't move and I feel physically sick. So I'll get migraines when I get stressed out. You may have a different, your body may respond differently, okay? But it's really important that you got to deal with that. The next term, which is stress long lasting, you keep going, you don't ignore the symptoms that your body is telling you, and you didn't jump over into burnout, okay? Burnout is like you keep going long standing, and your body says, I'm done. So that is emotional exhaustion caused by excess and prolonged stress. Okay. It goes on. So the keyword, the caveat here that we're talking about is prolonged. Okay. So you don't alleviate, it just prolonged. Okay. And then when a person gets to burnout, they get a sense of loss, hopelessness due to long-term stress. It's characterized by different things. That means motivation, extreme depression, extreme emotional exhaustion. And this is a caveat here. This is really important. It can lead to suicidal ideations, reoccurring thoughts, and the desire to just die. We're getting here. So burnout comes after times of work. Now watch this. This is different now. Let me explain this. Burnout doesn't just come from just negative things. Burnout can come. I'm gonna give you a scriptural case study related to that. Burnout can come from after great times of great challenges and great victories. Okay. So burnout can so we are emotionally, mentally, physically exhausted and just undone. There's a pastor here in North Carolina. I don't know his name. And I want to, he shared his testimony very powerful. He looked so sad. He was talking about how he just got to a place of burnout. And he said, I quote, usually I can heal quickly, but I haven't been able to heal. I haven't been able to jump back. And so it sounds like to me, he was probably under a lot of stress and now has gone to a place of burnout. I don't know this man of God's name. I don't know his church. But again, he is located in the state of North Carolina. And so if anyone does know him, please have him to reach out to Kingdom Creative Counseling, and we will be glad to serve him in any capacity as it relates to counseling sessions. Okay. But again, this is burnout. And again, I'm telling y'all my truth. I'm not going to tell you what happened, but as a clinician in the field for about 16 plus years, I have experienced this in my personal life because people are pulling on me too much. I don't know what it's like to be, in that area of my pastorship, but I know what that is like to be just done. Like, just take me now. I'm done. Stick me in a fork. I can't take this no more. Like, you understand what I'm saying? It's real. It's real. So that is what burnout is. And again, if you continue going on, and oftentimes what happens when we get stressed out, it may be multiple things. It's not just one thing that's stressing you out that then leads to burnout. It could be like one thing after the other thing, after the other thing, and after the other thing, and then after the other thing. And it's like you keep going and you keep going and you keep going, and usually you could bounce back. I was like, Lord, I can bounce back. No matter how hard you hit me, y'all, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna bounce back. And you get to that place where you get hit, but you don't really bounce back like that. You get hit again, and you don't pick up as quick. And that's when a person has experienced burnout. Okay. Then let's talk about compassion fatigue. That is emotional, mental, physical exhaustion that comes. This is the caveat here after doing. We associate this with helping professionals. It's after a long period of helping. We can consider compassion fatigue. So you're doing the right thing. You're helping people out. You're doing it in your field of practice, but you've been taking care of the sick. You've been hearing people's trauma stories, but after a long extended period of time, you get to a point where you experience compassion fatigue. And again, I've experienced this as well, but again, you're doing the right thing. And so you will find that, again, helping professionals and even ministerial leaders will experience this. You're present with other people. You're going. Doctors can experience this. We have seen a trend with even medical doctors and nurses and nurse practitioners in the human services field who experience this because they help people because this pandemic that we have going on. And so they've been helping people for a long period of time. Some of them have had shortened, they don't have enough work hours, they're understaffed, they have more patients than they got helping people. A lot of therapists have experienced also their own stuff because we had an influx of people who are now losing family members and friends and all people, and people are experiencing increase in anxiety and all these things. And we are the people kind of on the front lines that are helping these people. And also get ministerial leaders, they are experiencing the same thing. They're doing funerals back to back to back to back to back, and then counseling family members and all these things that you have to do as it relates to your chosen profession. And you get to the point where you're doing well, you're doing what you're doing very well and very effectively, but the brain says, "Ooh, well, I'm tired. I'm tired." I'm physically, emotionally, and when we say tired, it may not necessarily be physically tired. It's like your brain just said, "Okay, I got to shut down. I can't do this. I can't do this." Okay. So causes long. So let's talk about causes, okay? And then I'm gonna give you a scriptural case study. I'm gonna give you the scripture. You can read it on your own time. As far as like the scenario, what I mean is I'm not gonna read it to you, okay? So again, causes, we said, is long periods of pressure, turmoil, chaos with, watch this, no seeming release, no seeming relief. No self-care or repeated patterns of taking care of others with no regard for self. No or little regard for self. Unhealthy sense of self-sacrifice. Listen to this, an unhealthy sense of self-sacrifice. Okay, going beyond your limits. Okay, listen, everyone is not, you just go beyond on your limit. I'm gonna talk about capacity in a minute. I kind of don't want to get ahead of that, but um, uh, going beyond your limits. Also, this is key for servant leaders. You have no capable people or people who have limited capacity. See, people can say, I want to help, right? And we get that, or I want to be of service in some way. But sometimes the people that are volunteering to be of service or don't have the talent, the skill, or the ability to do what you need them to do. So it's almost like more pain than it's worth, because you have to retrain them, or you have to give them a skill set that they technically don't have. So you may have people that are like, yeah, I got you, I'm with you, but they don't have they're not really capable in that sense, because they don't have and I mean this respectfully, they don't have the background or the resume of completed work to be able to handle the task. You understand? Their will or their will and their desire supersedes what they're technically capable of. And you can have these people in your life where it's almost like you end up backtracking. You understand? You end up doing the work anyway, because they can't really do it. They're not skilled in that area. So when we talk about proper placement, which we'll talk about in a different live, I don't know when, we have to make sure we properly place people based upon their previous experience, not based upon their zeal alone. Okay, I'm giving that one for free, but like I said, that's another teaching for a different time. The idea that you have to be the strong one, and that everyone depends upon you. I was just thinking about this the other day. Sometimes what happens when you're the one that everyone depends upon, and you're the one that everyone leans on, they just are dependent upon you. Okay, and you're considered the strong one. But we all need people in our lives that we don't have, that iron sharpens iron. If you got to get what I'm saying. I have realized I've always been considered the strong one, because I'm a motivator. I've always been technically really independent. I'm very capable. I'm consistent. I'm persistent. I'm successful in my own way. So I've always been the type of person where I'm gonna get her done. Like that's how I don't. There are no excuses, no ifs, ands, or buts. Samaria gonna get her done. That's it. That's all. And if you had that mentality, right, and you are in the wrong group of people, they see you as a strong one, but they don't see themselves as a part of that team, because they know that the one that's dependable is going to get her done. Okay. And so that can be a very stressful thing, and a very overwhelming thing if it's long standing. You know, I told you guys a story. I was in prayer and I was asking God about people that I was in relationship with, and I kept saying, God, these people want me to jump through water. I mean, they want me to be baby Jesus. They don't hold other people accountable. They want me to be Johnny on the spot. They want me to disrupt my life, my finances, and everything else to jump when they want me to jump. And I don't understand that. I said, I don't understand that, God. I am a human being with human emotions. My blood is red just like the next person. I don't get it. He said to Mary, the reason why they're that way is because you've always been very responsible. You can call me technically, and if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And so we are the strong one, which basically comes with dependability, with capability, with just a spirit of go get them. And one of the things I have had to been delivered from is feeling I had to be the strong one for the wrong people. Now, I wasn't going to say I don't want to be the strong one, but I do want to be strong. The Bible says, let the weak say I am strong. And so if I'm feeling weak, I'm still strong. And if I'm feeling strong, I'm still strong. But I realized this, that I don't want to be the one everybody depends upon. Okay. And so having proper, again, going back to what I want to talk about in a different time, proper placement is key. I don't want to be the strong one in every relationship, but people can just run you dry. Anyway, unhealthy or toxic relationship that are rooted in learned behavior. You have people, Pastor talked about this today, who are entitled. And so people are entitled to your stuff. They think they're entitled to your money. They're entitled to your stuff because they have an entitlement. They have a desire for things they had not worked for. Y'all listen, y'all, can we talk for a minute? Y'all got people in your life like that? You work hard, you get up in the morning, you work hard, you pay your bills. You're not trying to be a grand or better than anybody. But you got this mentality that if I want it, I got to work for it. That's my mentality. I don't think anyone should give me anything for free. If I want it, I'm gonna get it. Now God's gonna grace me supernaturally to get it, to get certain things, but there's some concerted effort that I had to put in. Well, you will meet people that they are so entitled. They do nothing, want nothing, ain't gotta go after nothing, and they look at your stuff and think because they are related to you. Come on, y'all know I'm talking to the choir here. They think because they're related to you, they have access to stuff that they have not worked or earned for. But you working there. They chilling. Want you to cut checks to them and they ain't doing nothing. Somebody say get delivered. No, and I'm not just talking about the ones who are entitled. I mean the ones who are being the strong one, taking care of these jokers. Okay, I mean that from the authentic place because I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. I had to get delivered. Okay, then if that resonates with you, whichever side it goes on, we'll get delivered. Okay, all right. Not success of delegating authority again, and not success of delegating authority again. Maybe I got to do that proper. We'll figure it out. You don't properly delegate authority to people. Okay, you don't properly delegate authority. All right. So let's keep going here. Sudden change can lead to stress. Let me make sure we're still on. Okay, y'all can still hear me. All right. Sudden change can lead to stress. And again, being pushed beyond your capacity. Now, we all have capacity. Capacity is the limit of weight that something can carry. Okay. And let me clarify this. You are pushing past your capacity. I got to say this. This is very important. It doesn't matter how much you've accomplished. It doesn't matter how anointed you are. You can say I'm prophet, pastor, apostle, teacher, evangelist, and I'm a professional. I'm Samaria with whomever you are, right? How anointed you are. We all as human beings still have capacity, and there are limits. No one's capacity is limitless. Okay, that's only for God. That's only for God. And so what we do is we overly spiritualize the fact that we assume that we don't have limitations, but we do. We have limited capacity. And so what happens is when we don't recognize, when we reach our breaking point, when we say, I can't do this, I need help, because when you're the strong one, you're more likely you don't ask for help. You don't allow vulnerability, okay? And we keep pushing past our capacity. And remember, everyone's capacity is different. So if you say, I can't do this, and someone was Jane Doe around the corner, she can do it, well, that's Jane Doe. Well, such and such over here, he's doing what you're doing, and he can do it. And this is why I talked about my live last time. I talked about boundaries. I talked about effective boundaries and how we have to set boundaries. And I've been in a situation where I told people my boundaries, and they don't get it. They just, it was whoop, I just talked it to the air. You have to know what your capacity is, and other people may not understand. And you can talk until you're blue in the face. I cannot take this. You know what? I'm not gonna tell my business up in here. I'm gonna tell you the tea. Sometimes, no matter what you say to people, it goes in one ear and out the other, because they see you almost, I mean this respectfully, in a God-like capacity. Remember, God is limitless. God can do all things through Christ. Okay, I mean not God. Y'all get what I'm saying. God can do all things. With Him, nothing is impossible. And so they put you at this platform, and the reality is you are not expected to be human. You are not expected to be limited. You are not expected, because you are always the strong one. In their minds, you being the strong one has now made you invincible, even though you're human. You put your foot, you get respect and you give it, but you still sleep, eat, poop. You still do the same thing like everyone else. For some reason, they don't give you the opportunity to be human where they can have weakness and vulnerabilities. And so when it comes to compassion for you, it's very difficult, but you have to recognize within yourself what are your own limitations, whether people get it or they don't. And then we set some boundaries. So go back to if what I'm saying is resonating with you, I'm not going to talk about boundaries today. I did a two-parter. I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Boundaries 1 and the boundaries part 2, and you can also reference this. You can reference that. All right. So I want to give you a scriptural case study before we go to how do you deal with or how do you overcome all these things. And remember, if you go to 1 Kings chapter 19, and I want you to give you the preface of this. Elijah had just beaten and destroyed the prophets of Baal, and he actually defeated one of the most powerful false prophets of that time. Her name was Jezebel. Jezebel was pure and utterly evil. And I want to caveat this by sometimes from a spiritual perspective, you will experience stress, burnout, compassion, fatigue, because you ran into someone who has the spirit of Jezebel. Okay. Jezebel, basically after Elisha defeats her and her false prophets and kills them, basically, she was the only one left alive. She threatens him through intimidation. He runs. Okay. He runs and he gets to an alone place. Okay. And I want to caveat this. I said this before. I got to say it again. Sometimes your greatest burnout comes after your greatest victory. Your greatest burnout comes after your greatest victory. Okay. Elisha runs and he is so discouraged. He runs away in fear and intimidation. And he says, Lord, just let me die. What happened? He had this great victory. He had defeated. You think he'd be ready. You know, he's in it to win it, and he won it. And he exerted great faith in God. It teaches no matter how far the pinnacle of success or anointing or grace or whatever you have, it does not mean that you can go from on the mountaintop to the valley low, theoretically. Okay. So Elijah is experiencing right after this great victory, discouragement. He's experienced being intimidated. He has experienced being fearful. He's experiencing being exhausted. He has a desire to die. What did he experience? In essence, was considered burnout. As great as a prophet he was still a human being who had capacity. If you look at verse 12 and 13, God begins to speak to Elijah. Well, first off, Elijah, God supernaturally gave Elijah rest, and he gave him time to recover. Then in verse 12 and 13, God begins to speak, and he starts giving great signs and wonders: wind, fire, earthquake. Remember, but God, the scriptures of God was not in any of that. He was not in the wind, he was not in the fire, and he was not in the earthquake. I want to give you this caveat again. Your refreshing will come when you are away from the noise. Say that again. Your refreshing will come when you are away from the noise. You cannot recover, right? You cannot recover in the same place that is causing you exhaustion and pain. You have to go away. All right. So so God begins to speak to Elijah in a still small voice. Okay. What is that voice for us today? Okay. That God is that God wants to draw us away from. He wants us to draw us away from people, places, and things. Now, this is temporary now. It's only temporary, but we got to get renewed. So he wants to draw us away from people, places, and things that run you or drain you dry. Okay, I got to say it again. He wants to draw us away from people, places, and things that are causing us to be exhausted. After you get away and you have time of resting, of rejuvenating, then God will still speak to you. If you said, God, give me a mind to speak, Lord, tell me what to do from here. God's not going to speak in the noise. He's still going to speak to you in that still small voice. He says, Samaria, get up. Let me talk to you. Medical doctor, get up. Let me talk to you. Nurse practitioner that's been working with COVID patients. Okay, now that you rested, get up and talk. I'm going to talk to you after he's giving you that time of rest. Okay. God knows how to renew our strength. Okay. Then he begins to hear Elijah's concerns. I want you to make this clear that when we experience this, God is not mad at us. When we experience these types of things, he's not disappointed. He's not saying, but I thought you were better than that. He understands that we are human beings who have human capacity. Okay. What does Elijah do? God hears his concerns. He didn't say, "Oh, ye of little faith." He never said that. He never said, "Well, how dare you? He wasn't condescending. He wasn't critical. He didn't say anything nasty. He didn't put Elijah down for what he was and how he felt. He wasn't saying, I called you to be a great prophet. Now I'm so disappointed in you." He hears his concerns like the great counselor that God is. He affirms Elijah in his identity. He calls him by his name, Elisha. God gives him strength. He gives him food. He gives him travel. Okay. He then also, once his strength is really renewed, he gave him what we call new instructions. He gave him new instructions. Okay. And one of those instructions was to go back where you came from, but he told him to go back where he came from once his strength had been renewed. Okay. He affirmed, that things were not what they seemed. Because when you feel stressed out, burnt out, and have compassion, you literally feel as if you are alone. I mean, you feel as if you are alone. And God affirms him, "Look, Elijah, you're not." And again, he wasn't condescending, because I've heard people preach this, and Elijah was a man. And he felt like, and they were very condescending because it just sounded like they're putting Elijah down for how he felt, but he technically physically wasn't alone. He didn't know what God had already had. And sometimes that's kind of how it feels like when you're in that stress, compassion, fatigue, burnout type of phase. Like, you looking around and there's nobody you can call. You don't have people that you can call who can rejuvenate your strength. And so we assume that because I don't see these people, they're not there. God affirms him and comforts him and gives him a confirmation and says, "No, it feels as if you're alone, but there are 7,000 other prophets that I have already hidden. There are other people that may be hidden from you, but they're open to God." Sometimes the people that you really need are hidden in plain sight, but when God is ready, he's going to reveal these people to you. Okay. So I'm just, from now on, if y'all hear that people talk about or preach about Elijah's feelings as if it's negative, but it tells you the connotation of how oftentimes people don't think, as you're a leader or a servant leader, that you can have these feelings, and they look down upon him as if he's not human. Okay, remember, when we're reading people from the Bible, we're reading people who have human experiences, who are having spirit, who are just, they're human like us. Then God said, "I'm going to send you to divine connection." And God will do that to us. God will send you other brothers and sisters in Christ, other professionals, other people who have what you need, and you have what they need. They have what you need. Okay. He sends these people. He says, "Hey, I'm sending you here. I want you to anoint the king, but I'm going to send you a servant, someone that can help to rejuvenate your strength so you don't have to go about it alone." Okay, so God will do the same things for us. So let's talk about what will meet, what? Let me talk what we must do, okay, if we experience these things, okay? All right. The first things that, it's no point of making of having this discussion if we're not going to make changes. You're going to have to determine now that there's some changes that you're going to have to make. Okay. So after God renews you and he gives you new instructions, if there are not some lasting changes that you are going to have to make, or if you're not willing to make them, it's almost like you almost stop your progress. Like, you go forward only to go 10 times backwards. And that's not what we want to do. We don't want to make steps forward to go backwards. We want to make steps forward to go forward. So the first thing you have to do is have times of rest. I would recommend, if you can. Now, I know a lot of people can't. A lot of my clients cannot do this, but take a sabbatical. I mean, a long sabbatical. Ideally, most people, if you're a working professional, you can only take a certain amount of time based upon your PDO. But there are some people who have to take FMLA. I have clients who've been taken out of work for 60 to 30 to 60 days. Now, I don't write people out of work. I don't sign off on FMLA paperwork, but I do work with your primary care or who your medical doctor is. We can all work together to coordinate that. But I don't sign the paperwork on that, just because of my credentialing does not allow me to do that. And I don't assess people's work capacity. But ideally, at least 30 days. It depends upon your level of stress. Now, if you just got stressed out tomorrow, you just need to take a weekend, staycation or vacation. Most people can take a week or two. If you have to, and it's severe enough, you may have to take that at least 30 days. You probably need more than 30 days, but if you can, do at least 30 days. That's what I'm recommending. Okay. But so there's some times when you got to just take a step back. Like for the pastor that was referring to, if I was recommending any type of changes for him, I would recommend at least 6 months, at least, and then come back at the beginning of that 6 months, maybe around Christmas, maybe the first of 2023. You understand what I'm saying? You have to have time to rest. Again, a lot of people, that's entirely too much time. They can't do it. You have bills, you got responsibilities, and I completely get that. I'm just telling you what the recommendation is, okay? And then that's what I'm saying. All right. So, and then we have to reevaluate. I have to reevaluate what changes do I need to make based upon my present and past circumstances. Like what got me to this place? Okay, what got me to this place? What are changes I need to make? Who do I need to connect with or disconnect with? For my case, I had to disconnect myself from takers because I'm a giver. And I realized that, you know, it's just we not, you know, you've been at this a long time, and is at this point, you know, you're not gonna change, and I'm gonna keep changing for the better, and so we not gonna mesh. So you have to, there are gonna be people, if they're drama, if they're draining, if they don't have capacity, if they're not properly placed. I mean, there's all kinds of dynamics that go along with this. You have to know that there are people who have to disconnect from. There's a thing called takers versus givers, drainers versus refuelers. And if you don't have refuelers, remember, just like Elijah, just like God told Elijah, he's going to give you some refuelers. Okay. He's going to give you some new people. Who are the types of connections what are the type of connections I need in my life? How can I was telling my group members the other day, how can other people help us? What can they do when we get overwhelmed? Sometimes we just need some help, but they have to know, the people that are our support people have to know, how can they help us? They may not always know, but they can certainly try. You understand what I'm saying? You know, and again, this is really important for therapy, because we'll sit down and we'll give you a game plan. Okay. We'll give you a game plan or a treatment plan. Okay. And a God will show you just as he did Elijah. Okay. I said that God will show you just as he did Elijah. Then we have to reconnect. So after you rest, you get renewed strength. You start feeling better. You start having hope. You go from hopelessness to hope. You stop these suicidal thoughts. You stop thinking, hey, I want to die. You stop thinking all this thing, and you have renewed strength. I'm not telling you to go back yet. I'm just saying you have renewed strength. You have renewed vigor. You are a faith person. Your faith has been renewed. Your relationship with God is being renewed. My mom keep getting dark here. Hold on. Yeah, your faith with God is continues to get renewed. And now you feel like, hey, I can now go back and fulfill my assignment. Okay. So you want to reconnect to the assignment, but you have to take these new changes. And remember, I said in my previous teaching, I said, when you start setting new boundaries, but people who are used to the old you, that you'll get kickback. But your health, your wealth, and your emotional well-being is dependent upon this. So we're going to ignore the you understand, and all this chatter. We're going to ignore it. If people want to come for you, send them home. We're not dealing with disrespect. You can't do this. You know, y'all, you get what I'm saying, okay? So when I reconnect to my assignment, I have to bring alongside with me new changes. For Elijah, he connected with a mentee who was also a servant to him. That was a new change. So what are these changes I need to make? And let's reconnect, okay? And then when I reconnect, I have to come with these new changes. I have to come with my new strength. I have to come with my new perception. I have to come with my new H word here is habits. Now, if you're gonna go back to the old habits and the old ways, you might as well just don't even do it, because it's gonna make you worse than better. But I have to connect with new things, new boundaries, new limitations. You know, taking my rest regularly. Don't just take a one-time rest, but regularly. Take a sabbatical regularly. And if whatever you have going on, your company, your organization, if they cannot deal with you being gone for 2 weeks or a couple of weeks or 30 days, and they think the whole world is going to end just because you need to find another place to work, or another organization, whatever it is. Because if the whole business goes down because you took a 30-day sabbatical, then that's a problem within itself. That's an organizational problem. Okay. Okay. All right, y'all. So I have to come back. Other thing that you want to do is you want to limit who has personal access to you. Everyone should not have access to you. This is true. Everyone should not have your cell phone number. Everyone should not, even if you had to maybe even limit social media. Okay. Who are those core people that have access to you? And let those be honorable people, because you got 1 or 2 people and they just draining as 15, 20 people. Who are the people that when you call, they pick up? When they are giving to you, they're calling to pray for you. Who are the people you could call? And guess what? You may not have those people right away, because you may have been in this level of dysfunction for a long time. If you don't have anybody that's like that. But again, in our prayer points, that's what we're praying for. Okay? Even if you have one person, listen to me, even if you have one person, that one person is okay. As you continue to go on with these new habits and this new life and this renewed strength, God will connect you with more than one person. Maybe one person, then it's going to be 2 people, then it's going to be 3 people that are familiar, can be familiar with you, but not not disrespectful. You can be a human being with proclivities and weaknesses and strengths, and they're not going to think anything less of you. But again, if you have one person, then that's your person, that's cool. It's okay. Remember, God will continue to expand your circle as you make these new changes. And you cannot bring old habits. Okay? You cannot bring old habits into new changes. Into a new place. Okay? Forgetting what was behind me. All right? Other just basic tips. Limit, like I said, give yourself. If you're an entrepreneur, we can work 80-hour days if that's what it takes. Again, if y'all, and I don't know what it's like to be in a leadership position, but y'all can work. I'm not leadership, a ministerial position is what I mean by that. Y'all can work hard. You have to give yourself breaks weekly. Okay. Sometimes monthly and then daily. You have to limit yourself to having certain office hours. That's one thing I did when I first started my business. I told people years ago, not a couple teachings ago, I was there, Johnny on the spot. You email me, I email you 2:00 in the morning. I was crazy because I was trying to build my clientele. And I didn't want anyone to just I want anybody to leave. I don't do it anymore. Setting personal boundaries, setting professional boundaries, set all kinds of social media boundaries. Just go to the beach. Do something where you don't have to do anything. Watch a movie. So rest and sleep are not the same thing. Remember that. Sleep is when your body is sleeping. You can be resting and be wide awake. Go sit on the beach somewhere and just chill out. Go where nobody knows your name. I'm known as a therapist in certain cities. Okay, I'm a therapist. I've been in the field for a long time. I work in the same kind of area, so I'm not going to that same city where they know me as a therapist. I'm going to Charlotte somewhere where nobody know where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? If I have to. Now, my goal is to travel, but y'all know with the pandemic and everything, it's kind of limited how far we can go. But go someplace where nobody knows you. Go to Atlanta. You understand what I'm saying? Go do nothing. Take up a craft. Go to a museum. Take up a instrument. Do something else. Okay? Take a pottery class. Go someplace where nobody knows you. Go to what is it they do in North Carolina? Go to the lake. Go to the beach house. Rent somebody someplace else. Take vacations regularly. Take at least 3. My goal is to at least stack my coins so much I can take 3 to 4 vacations a year. Okay. Now I could do that now, but it may be a little much. Maybe I ain't quite there yet. You understand what I'm saying? And it don't take people that drain you with it. You got to go by. If you got to go by yourself, then go by yourself. Set boundaries with people. Okay. There's so much more that I can say. Remember, you are worthy. You are worthy and you are enough, but you are worthy of your own care, your own time, your own effort, your own self-care. What happens, people who are in like servant leadership position or servant leaders, oftentimes they're so self-sacrificing. They're sacrifice of themselves for the sake of other people. So they're giving to other people, but they won't give themselves that same effort. But remember, when you're on a plane, right? They tell you this, even if you have children with you. Now, I don't know if I can do this if I had a child with me, but that's what they say now. They say you have to put the mask on your own self before you can put the mask on your child. Now, me, that's what they say now. If I had a little baby next to me, bless God, I would still put that on that baby first. But that's what they say. Remember, you cannot pour from an empty well. And if you're not in a position where something is refueling you and rejuvenating you and giving you strength, eventually you become empty. And that's really what burnout and compassion fatigue is. It is a place of emptiness. And so we have to take care of ourselves. And remember, when you decide to refuel and it's not going to happen overnight. You just don't go to glory. You don't go into the you don't get that level of depleted, and then by tomorrow you rejuvenated. God can give you a spiritual experience where His Holy Spirit comes upon you and you jump back up. But oftentimes it may happen. It's going to happen, but your body has to get accustomed to this new change. Okay. Another thing that we recently, so my church became off of a fast, and I went on it. Thank you, Jesus. I made it. But anyway, fasting really has rejuvenated me tremendously. I'm so grateful for it. So fasting does help. Okay. All right, y'all. This has been really fun. Again, so if you want to check me out, before I go there, make sure you download a copy of my ebook. It's a free ebook called The Accuser. A wonderful book. Book that I wrote where I was on my time of just being a heavy persecution, and God gave me a strategy, and I'm thankful for that. It's not a book about tea. It's not a book about drama. It's tell you how do you heal? How do you heal? It's a book of healing. How do you heal if you've been falsely accused? So you can pick that up. But if you want to check me out, right? You want to check out my training courses. You're going to check out, my blogs and anything else. You can go to www.drsamariaculver.com. And if you are a therapist and you want to get some insight, or if you just want to know a little more about my private practice, you can go to www.kingdomcreativecounseling.com. Okay, we'll be back in a day at a time, another banger. Bye.